Hello and welcome to this week's edition of 50 Years Serving the Island, a series of programmes showcasing highlights from Manx Radio's archives during the station's first 5 decades serving the public in the Isle of Man. In 1968, Manx Radio was transferred into public ownership and became the island's public service broadcaster. Throughout this year, we'll be looking back and celebrating the breadth of programming that Manx Radio has shared with listeners over that time, reflecting the island's community, arts, culture, sporting life, heritage and changing political climate over the last 50 years. As the 2018 Isle of Man Commonwealth Games team prepares to take part in this year's Games in Australia's Gold Coast in April, today we look back at highlights from the 1986 coverage of the Games, which turned out to be a golden year in Manx sporting history. It's presented by Jeff Cannell.
For the first time since 1970, the Commonwealth Games returned to Britain with the Scottish capital Edinburgh once more the venue. All was set to go when the organisers found themselves faced with massive problems from a boycott by many countries in support of Westminster's refusal to apply trade sanctions against South Africa. But it didn't interfere with the appearance of a party of 29 competitors from the Isle of Man who with their officials entered the Meadowbank Stadium to generous applause.
And this really is a superb scene. The weather has just held off. It's a few showers occasionally, but now the sun, the evening sun, trying to break through. And here is the Isle of Man team, the 3 legs of man, with shooter Peter Kelly proudly carrying it for the second time.
Shortly afterwards, the competitions themselves got underway, and swimmer Shane Stiggins set a personal best in the 100 metres. Congratulations coming from Dave Phillips.
Hi, thanks very much. Best by over a second. There's a New Zealand guy just to the right of me in the next lane, and I went up the first length and he was just ahead of me. I thought, I'll keep to him. Turned the first length, a pretty good time, but unfortunately I tied on the last length, but I still came back. It's better than I've ever done before. It's great.
You were just over 32 seconds for the first length.
Yeah, I've been going about 34 seconds in training. So 32 seconds, that's quite a bit up on what I've done.
And you're in the hardest heat of the lot with the Olympic champion, and I believe 4 out of that heat qualified for the final.
Really? I didn't know that, but I can imagine it was the fastest heat, yeah.
And overall, I gather 17th fastest in the event.
Really? I didn't know that either. Oh, I just missed out on, if they do have consolation finals, take the top 8 for the final, then the next top 8 for consolation finals. I think looks like I've just missed out on that.
Another early event was the cycling team time trial, but there was no luck for the Manx team, who lost Peter Kenyock very early in the race with mechanical failure.
That's the thing that's the back of my mind, I didn't think that would ever happen at all. I was sort of more worried about going out the back than that. I was just coming to the top of the climb from the back lanes on the course, and we were starting to descend down a hill, and I put it onto the big gear, and the next thing I knew, something jammed, and I noticed my front changer was all wrapped around me crank and my back wheel. So what exactly happened I don't know yet, because I've not seen the bike close up, but I had a bike change and I was put onto Steve Porter's bike, but there's no way I would have got back on at all with that, so I had to call it a day.
Once you've lost the chase, then you've virtually had it, have you?
Yeah, well, the team's got to make a decision when something happens like that, whether to hold back and wait for the 4th rider to have the bike change. I shouted him to go on, because I was worried about, on Steve's bike, whether I could sort of ride and hang on to them. But as it happened, if I did wait if the lads did wait for me, I probably would have gone out the back of them anyway, because I found Steve's bike hard to control on the descents just after where I had me mishap.
The badminton team had 4 members, and Rosie Johnson and Sharon Baird found things pretty warm in their opening match.
Yeah, we're not used to it. We're used to cold church halls.
You took some good points off them there at the end, though.
Well, we had nothing to lose. They were on 14. Made a go of it. I think nerves have played a big part in the game. We're not used to all this officialdom,
Still, 9 and 7 isn't bad.
No, I'm very pleased, yeah.
Sharon, that's hard work, and you've got to do it all again in a few minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'm on for the mix in about 5 minutes' time, I think, so give it everything again.
Some good rallies towards the end there.
Oh, yeah, very pleased. I think actually it's the best we've played together ever, I think.
We're really playing well, so at least we can tell whether we're improving, so that's the main thing. At least we didn't go and disgrace ourselves, which is...
A couple of good margins, I thought, there, really.
Yeah, we played very well. It's just a shame we didn't get too much of a lead in the second game, really. I think they're 8 or 9 love before we really started playing. We just got to... With not being used to top-class competition all the time, we can get away with just lifting at home, whereas here you've got to attack all the time. So it's just a case of remembering to do that, if you know what I mean. It's easy to go back into the habit how we'd play when we were at home.
Rosie, what about your singles? How did you get on with that?
I think my scores were 4 and 1, but I was quite pleased. I'd like to play her again. I think I learned something by playing her. I think the game was better than 4 and 1, but she was very good, very quick and nimble around course. But no, I was quite pleased.
Paul Martin also put his heart and soul into his contribution.
Everything went to that. Shattered now. Absolutely shattered. Well, you couldn't have tried any harder. There was nothing left, whatever, was there? No, give it all. I was glad to take him to 3s. City's number 8 over here, so it's really good. Great. It seemed to me that the break between the first and second sets was where you lost it somehow. Yeah, he changed his tactics, very well, not to suit me at all. I was looking for long rallies, and he's finishing very quickly. He's going for the kill very quick. I've got him again in the individual on Tuesday, so I think maybe next time, give it all. These services off the rafters are hard to get to, aren't they? Very hard when they're coming down on your nose all the time. You got to watch out. You're losing some of the TV lights, but not to worry.
Although not running for the Isle of Man, Dave McCutcheon was at the Games, representing Scotland in the 400 metres hurdles. But after a magnificent performance, he dipped out on a place in the final by 9/100ths of a second. Naturally, he was bitterly disappointed.
I'm disappointed, but it's the first time in the race I've ever given 110%. It was such a lift from the crowd, and I just wish I'd been in the first heat. It might have been different, and well, you saw that none of the times were exceptionally quick. It was just the elements against us, and I gave it all, and that was it.
It certainly took everything out of you, didn't it? It's a long way to come just for one race, though.
Oh yes, but it was something I'll never forget. The crowd, it was just fantastic, and as I say, I gave everything, and well, so did one of the other guys, and he's unfortunately been carried off. I don't know how he is, and I'll have to go find out what condition he's in.
For 15-year-old Peel athlete Dana Myhill, the occasion might have been overwhelming, but utilising her experience as English schools champion, she put up a marvellous show in her 100 metres semi-final.
The runners are on their marks. Set, go, and they're off and running, and Dana's got a fabulous start. She's really going well. She's at least equal of the others, but she's dropping back a little bit now, but she's not going to be last by a long way. She's really trying. Well, that was a very good run for someone with so little experience, and by no means is she last in that race. She beat quite easily Sharon Mitsud of Gibraltar. The winning time 11.22, and here's Dana now. Dana, congratulations, that was a magnificent effort. What a start.
Thank you.
Just faded a little bit at the end, but nevertheless you must be satisfied, are you?
Well, I got a good start, so I'm pleased with that. I'm just waiting for the official time now, see how that is.
I would say over the first 30 metres or so you must have been in the lead.
I think I was for a bit of the race, but it's, as I say, my best distance is 60 metres, and that's where they catch me in the last 40, so...
I bet it was nerve-wracking on the starting line, wasn't it?
It was very, very nerve-wracking, but it's all right.
Back at the Royal Commonwealth swimming pool, Shane Stiggan's brother Graham was in action and did well in the 200 metres, though not quite managing a personal best.
I don't know what went wrong. I felt great before I went in. I was all psyched up for it, but didn't come off.
You were well on a PB at the end of the third length, but you seemed to lose it on the last length up.
Yeah, I don't know what my splits were yet. I'll have to see Neil and see what the splits were. But, maybe I lost it on the second 100.
Well, I doubled up your second 100 time, which would have put you 2:30, which I think is about 1:15 for the first 100. You were flying.
Yeah, 1:15. That's great for split. Then it's all gone on the second 100. The 100 metres I did on Monday, I did 1:13. So it's only 2 seconds down on the 100 time. So that's what I usually do when I'm doing a 200. But unfortunately, the 200. Wasn't good enough.
The sport of judo was not actually a fully recognised event at the Games, but there was tremendous support for the participants, including Manx entry Ruth Vondy, who was delighted to take the silver medal.
Yeah, the only thing I've got to say now is I'm hungry.
Well, you've earned a meal for sure.
Oh, yeah.
What's it going to be now then? What do judo contestants eat? Mountains of stuff?
Whatever comes first, but no drink.
There was an enthusiastic party of shooters at the Games, although some were obliged to travel considerable distances to the skeet and full bore competitions. But for Harry Creevy, the small bore at Musselburgh started poorly, However, it finished better.
Yes, I couldn't get the first half of the shoot right at all, Jeff. Second 30, I pulled the finger out, so to speak. It came right.
Would have been nice to have started the same way as you finished, because 99 you were going really well there, showing your concentration was actually getting better rather than worse, perhaps.
Well, I got to terms with the conditions. There's a slight wind today and it's fluctuating a little bit, but that's just all in the brain, really. If you're watching what you're doing, you've got the mental attitude, well, you should put the scores together. It's been proven today. You got an Australian, shot 599. Estimate score, hopefully it'll be 600, that'd be nice.
It's incredible really to do that, isn't it?
Well, these lads have been training so hard and so long, they've got the coaches with them, they're getting themselves set up for this competition for the World Championships in a few weeks' time. How can you compete, really?
So how does 584 go with your personal ambition score?
It's a reasonable score for what we're used to at home, but when you come away to these competitions, it's just not on. You know, you're talking for 10 points more than that, really.
Anything dropped at all is a disaster, isn't it, for them?
Yes. Oh, yes. You're looking for perfection in this game.
So you have two 99s, a 98, a 97, 96, and then that 95's let you down a bit.
95 at the beginning. I tried to beat the conditions, really. It seemed right, so I went for it, and unfortunately I was just missing them.
Also at the small bore was former bronze medalist Stuart Watterson, who found conditions a little less exacting than in the similar shoot at Musselburgh a few days earlier.
Yes, a lot better today, Jeff. Rain, mist, just like home.
But still very exhausting for you and Harry here.
Oh yeah, I mean you're trying for every point all the time. It just started fairly softly today. The wind picked up a little bit in the middle of the shoot. Conditions returned a lot softer towards the end. Finished on a clean string of 100, but dropped too many points in the middle when the wind picked up, unfortunately.
Amazingly consistent, though, for all that.
Well, yes. I mean, as I say, you're trying for every point, but there's some excellent results along the line today.
So is it 590, or do you think you're on for a couple more, maybe?
No, I think I'm on for a couple more. My estimate is 592.
Still with the shooters, Chris Turner had this to say after the third session of his second day's clay pigeon contest 50 miles out at Kippen.
Well, I'm quite pleased with how I've been shooting, really. Shot 3 23s today, so if I can finish with a straight, it won't look so bad.
91 on the first day. What would that make you with a straight now, then?
94.
So you'd be happy with that, then? That would be 185.
Yeah, I'd be quite happy with that, really. There's at least 12 shooters here that really should stuff us out of sight, so if we can get in the top 12, it wouldn't do too bad.
Who's the hot man?
Ian Peel from England. I would think he will be the gold medalist.
Good facilities here, aren't there?
Excellent, excellent.
Well, Peter Kelly signed off with a 178 finish.
Yeah, 289s. Well, not bad after the start of the day, like. Running terrible.
Dropped a couple on that last one, then?
Oh, well, it's like everything. I'm trying too hard.
You think that's what it is? Just not relaxed enough?
Well, that's what usually drops them. You start trying too hard and you just tense up and, well, you do things that you shouldn't do and away they go.
So are you satisfied with your performance in these games, or a little bit disappointed?
Well, it's my best score in the 3 games I've been to, like, but I'm only 7 short of my best, so it's not far away.
Meanwhile, back at the pool, the Stiggins were concluding their games endeavours, with Shane netting his third personal best out of 3 swims when he made it a hat-trick in the medley.
Yeah, that's the hat-trick, so glad it's all over now. It's the last swim, I can live it up a bit.
Really, though, you couldn't have done any better than that to knock best times in on all 3 events.
No, I'm pleased. I've done all 3. There's nothing better I could do. Too far to get into the final, so I'm just pleased to make the personal best each time.
How important was it for you to do that?
Very important. I've been out recently with a few injuries and problems, and it's boosted me to think that I can still do it.
Did you enjoy it, or is it too much pressure to be enjoyable?
It's enjoyable in a masochistic sort of way, I suppose, yes.
It's enjoyable now it's over?
Very much better now it's over, yeah.
Was there any problem with the delay in the start for you?
Yes, I'd warmed up, and then with was a half an hour delay while there was a bomb scare or something. So, came back and I was warming up again, and it just gets a bit tiresome after a while, but I'm hoping it didn't affect me all that much.
After earlier disappointments, Graham also got onto the personal level that he was seeking for himself.
Oh yes, about time I did something. I was determined to do something on the last swim, you know. I managed to pull something out, yeah.
After the first 100, in fact, you were only just about a couple of hundredths behind Shane's time.
Is that right? Well, after the first length, I glanced up at the scoreboard, and I did about 30 seconds to the length of fly, and I knew that Shane did about 30 as well, so I knew I was quite close to him.
Well, you certainly were even after the second length as well.
That's good, that's nice to know.
And dropped about a second and a half on the third 50.
Second and a half on the third 50, well, probably getting a bit tired there.
2:23 then for the final event, and he was 2:20.86, but you still well beat your 2:25.50.
That's great. That's the last swim now, so I'm happy I've done a PB, you know.
Nice note to end on.
Yeah, certainly is, yeah.
The heat of the Meadowbank badminton halls was continuing to tell on the Manx foursome, but Sharon Baird's play had been excellent, although it had gone ragged towards the end of her second match.
Yeah, I think what happened, we relaxed as we got a good lead, that was all, but it's a fairly comfortable win, so still we go on.
But they're no walkover, are they?
Oh no, that's the bloke that beat Paul early on the team competition in the singles, so I think it just goes to show that we have improved as the tournament's gone on, because that was really a fairly, I'll say, comfortable win, because we were sort of felt as though we were on top all the time.
So it's not the end of the games after all then?
No, we're playing it tomorrow now, so it's been a very long week.
Paul Martin also had an excellent match against Guernsey.
Yeah, it must be because their fitness quite good, I think, something like that.
Quite a tough game though, they're not exactly a pushover, are they?
No pushover. I was sitting the shuttle well tonight, seemed to be putting it through the guy tonight rather than picking it up all the time, so yeah, it's a good win.
A day off has done you good, you could see you leaping for them really well.
Yeah, it was on a quick bash tonight, I think. Yeah.
Ian Anderson had played well himself and had nothing but admiration for his teammates' efforts too.
Marvellous effort tonight. As I said last night, I was confident that they'd win it. Paul just blasted his way through the guy. I mean, excellent performance.
I think manager Frank, your father, he has lost a bit of stone watching that.
He has, yes.
Fair goes, doesn't he?
Oh, yes. The weight drops off him when he watches us playing, especially when Paul's motoring around the course. The weight's dropping off me dad.
Steve Partington had to wait ages for his one event, the 30-kilometre walk. The weather was absolutely atrocious, but the plucky Manx walker kept ploughing through it all, really flying towards the end and knocking over 4 minutes off his previous best personal time.
Yeah, for once I was going a bit quicker at the end, so it was good. 4.5 minutes actually.
The conditions were deplorable, weren't they, especially to start with?
Yeah, and at the turn. It got a bit better on the way in, but at the turn it was really wet. It was horrible.
Did you think that was going to make you a slower time than your personal best?
Oh no, I was quite confident today, but I didn't, maybe in those conditions I didn't expect to do quite so fast, but it was all right.
Well, you were gaining hard on Johnson of Wales. You pulled up 20 seconds on him after the turn, but then in fact he got ahead of Seater. Yeah. But in turn you then started to pressurise Seater. I think one more lap of the track here, you'd have had him.
Yeah, well apparently he was on his knees, but it's just one of those things. I think he beat me by about 2 seconds in the end, but he was I feel sorry for him because he just must have blown up.
Well, I thought you'd done as well as you could when you qualified at the Bowl that day, but to knock another 4.5 minutes off really is great. You must feel on top of the world.
Oh yeah, it's a pity that, it was all on my own. I had all the walk. As it happened actually in the beginning, I got a warning for me contact, and that probably did me a favour because it slowed me down a bit. And I think it's the only 30k where I've gone faster the sort of second half, so worked out all right.
On the banked wooden boards of the cycling velodrome, Onken's Gary Hines was flying in the 10k race, but found the pace just a little too hot towards the end.
Oh, too fast for me. New Commonwealth record again, so I was up there until about 5 to go, and I just bang, didn't have it.
You couldn't have had a better go than that though. You were looking really strong to first 30 laps or so.
Yeah, I was. Luckily I'd picked the right gear this time. I'd geared up from the last time I rode in Australia, and it was okay for the first 30 laps, but then the brakes keep going and brakes keep coming back. You don't know which one to go with, and then they're just world class, these riders. So.
It was all a bit of a mix-up at the end with the lead bunch, and you were lapped, I think, just before the end, weren't you?
Yeah, just before the end, the Australian train started to roll, and just the same as it did in Brisbane, and there was just no stopping these guys. They're virtually professionals, so I don't know.
Enjoy it?
Yeah, in a funny sort of way, I suppose I did. It's just the atmosphere of being in there, and at least you're in with a shout until the break goes.
In the 1500 metres, Shan Pilling found herself really in the arena, but did well with a performance almost at personal best standard.
I hope so. I'm just waiting for the time. It felt really good, so just hanging on to see the results.
You were in the faster of the two heats, and we think in fact that you might actually be reserved for the final, is that right?
If the first 6 from my heat went through, then I'll probably be reserved because the first heat was so slow, so who knows.
Did the race go as you planned it?
I didn't really plan anything. I just went in to run and do as well as I could do, and it felt okay. I was pleased.
You were with them up till about 500 metres to go, and then the top ones went away from you?
Yeah, about 600. I knew they'd speed up. I just tried to hang in there, did my best. They went away a bit, but I would have expected that, really.
Well, you did have a very strong heat, didn't you? It looked stronger than the first heat, in fact.
Oh yeah, all the favourites were in my heat, so I was a bit worried at the start, but I had nothing to lose. There was no pressure on, so I just went out and ran.
The highlight of the week came, of course, in the individual skeet shoot at Kippen, when Andrew McEwen and Nigel Kelly were the representatives. But before covering that momentous event in detail, let's conclude the remainder of the Games events by recalling the 100-mile cycling road race. Hopes were high for Manx fortunes, and atrocious weather conditions failed to deter the 4 Manx competitors at the start. During the race there were heroic endeavours from Mike Kelly, Steve Porter, Richard Fletcher and Andrew Nicholson, but regrettably at the end to little avail. Here's Mike Kelly.
I felt great. I got on the break. I had a bad patch of 3 laps to go and I just didn't recover from it. I just blew to pieces.
You really had a lot of work on to catch them back up though after you got behind a little bit, and then you had that solo ride with the Canadian for a couple of laps. It's pretty gruelling stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty negative racing actually, because the break was away and it was only Alan Gold and myself chasing. Nobody else wanted to do anything, and eventually we got across and I just went straight through them.
Did that cost you too much energy to do that though?
No, because I felt good at the time, but I suffered for it later.
How do you feel now? Pretty all in?
Smashed, yeah. Completely smashed.
So is it a disappointing race from your point of view?
No, at least I've had a go. The main thing. It didn't work. It'll work another time, I suppose, won't it?
Terrible wind though. It must have really taken the toll.
Yeah, it was actually harder than Team Time Trial, the wind, because it was coming across. And all the echelons, you have to be very strong. If you let a gap go, that was it. You just out of the back. That's what happened when the break went away early on. Somebody left a gap and nobody could close it.
Well, we admire you for your efforts anyway. You were leading out the Manx bunch to start with, but they haven't made it either. But an admirable effort, and you tried extremely hard, and no one can ask more than that. Well done.
Cheers, yes, sir.
The disappointment was obvious as well for Richard Fletcher and Steve Porter. Here's Richard.
Yeah, the wind was in the worst possible direction because you didn't get any help at all. It was a crosswind both ways, so it was the hard men went to the front and drove it, and the rest of us were in the gutter. I was never really in a position to get in a break, I don't think. That's the way it goes.
Bit disappointed then?
Yeah, disappointed. You seem to be chasing all day. Never getting anywhere.
About 12th or so, I should think.
No, a bit lower than that, I think. There's a few more up the road than that. I think about 18th, something like that. But unless you're in the first 3, it doesn't really matter.
Harder work than the International, was it?
Yeah, I think so. Because the International was the hills, knocked me for 6th. Today it was just a grind. You had to hold the wheel in front and make sure that the wheel in front was holding the wheel in front of that.
It all sounds pretty desperate stuff. Steve Porter, that's it for the Games for 86, but you tried hard anyway, but it just didn't quite come off today.
No, it just seemed to all go wrong, really. It's just, I think we went in the race, there's only one thing to do, and that was try and win a medal. There's nothing else. Thought I had it sussed at the beginning when I got in a move with all the names. But came back and I'd done me hard work with them, and I had nothing left at the end. I was just completely wiped out. So I'm very disappointed.
But back to that shoot in wonderful weather 50 miles from Edinburgh at Kippen near Stirling. The original hint that things might go well for the Isle of Man in the clay shooting came when Andrew McEwen and Nigel Kelly almost won a medal in the pairs competition. A slip towards the end saw Nigel let the chance go, so when it came to the individual, he was really determined. That determination was vividly demonstrated when he led the first day with a score of 98 out of 100, putting him 1 shot ahead of Crickus of Australia, Gabriel of Canada, Neville of England, and twice previous Games champion and Commonwealth record holder John Woolley from Canada. But could Nigel hang on the second day? It seemed almost too much to hope for. Shooting with him, although on an individual basis this time, was Andrew McEwen, who didn't fare too well on the first day, but certainly got into the groove on day 2, although he admitted it was too late to get into full contention.
Could do with doing something better than yesterday anyway, but I was too nervous yesterday and I just couldn't handle the pressure, I suppose.
But you definitely seem to be enjoying life today.
Yeah, I feel more relaxed today. Hope it'll just come together again in the last 50 like it did in the team shoot.
Well, apart from your own, of course, you're keeping a close watch on Nigel Kelly, and he started promisingly with just 1 bird down in his first 25. He's under enormous pressure, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he doesn't realise what it's like, really. It's, well, I've never really been that far up, so I can't say, so, but when I have been on top, like, I've been sick, you know, it's just the way it goes, but I don't know how he's coping, but, yeah.
By mid-afternoon it was clear that Nigel Kelly was not going to crack under the strain as at first had been feared. He was still right up there as the Commonwealth's finest tried everything they knew to dislodge the virtually unknown Manxman. Nigel Kelly has the opportunity to win the gold for the Isle of Man if he can just shoot 4 clay pigeons. That's all he's got to do, but all is in inverted commas. He's on the range for the final set of shots here, and can he do it? It is an extraordinary situation. All the Commonwealth Games best have dropped shots here. He's absolutely locked in competition with Joe Neville from England, but Joe Neville has dropped one of his clay pigeons on this final 25. It means he can finish 195. 2 more shots, 2 more for Nigel Kelly to take an extraordinary gold medal at the ISU skeet shoot at Kippen near Stirling in Scotland. And what a fairy tale this would be. And now the shooters move to their final position. This is the final few shots of the 1986 Commonwealth Games for all these shooters, but most importantly for number 137. There he is, tramping out the old battered green hat. Isle of Man team, it says on the back. Now Nigel Kelly. He's got to hit these 2 for the gold medal. Well, he has an aim. Puts the cartridges in, lines the gun up at the trap he goes. Takes another look at it, gives the instruction, pull, hits it, a beauty. Now, can he do it? This is unbelievable now, the tension he must feel. And he's giving us all a nod for the first time today. I think the medal is secure, for not the gold, but there's almost certainly a medal. I can't work out the mathematical qualification. Here we go, and he hits that one. He's done it, and it's a gold for the Isle of Man. A remarkable story, absolutely extraordinary, and I'll now try to walk down to get a word with him. And that is the end of the shoot, and an extraordinary fairy tale story. Nigel, tremendous stuff. How on earth did you survive that pressure?
I don't know. I just don't know.
You must be completely drained.
I'm knackered, absolutely.
25 straight, just when you needed it.
Oh, I know. I had a lucky bird out, but after that I got myself into gear.
It doesn't matter one jot. A gold medal, extraordinary.
Oh, just can't believe it. You know, just in fairyland, I don't know. Just can't believe it. I'll probably wake up in a minute.
Superb stuff, though. I mean, you must have been under extraordinary pressure. You couldn't believe it when the 3 top men all dropped 2, and then Neville dropped 1 as well.
It's like this. I just don't look at the scoreboard. And
I don't know how you survived the pressure.
I don't know. I think this is worse.
Don't worry about it. Gold medal, extraordinary for the Isle of Man, the first for years, but at the shoot after the pairs, you must be chuffed a bit.
Can't believe it. Just can't believe it. That's all I can say. I'm sorry.
Are you drained?
Absolutely. Can I just give a special mention to me mother and father, which thought this wouldn't be possible, and a special mention to one of my old idols, Jack Smith, who's in Laxey. I just can't believe it. Thanks very much anyway.
You're welcome. It's a fantastic effort under most extreme pressure from the best in the Commonwealth. There we are then, Nigel Kelly, and the TV boys are wanting to move in here, so let's not deny him his moment of glory. Quite extraordinary. Just a couple of hours later, it was back to Edinburgh and the presentation ceremony. The winner of the gold medal is Nigel Kelly, representing the Isle of Man. Well, I wouldn't say the roof is coming off, but it's the next best thing to it, and the medal is round his neck. He's on the rostrum, a gold for the Isle of Man, and what a grin he has. Well, what a marvellous moment. Yes, the medal belonged to everyone, but most importantly to Nigel himself.
Just jubilant. I just can't believe it. And as for the team members, absolutely fantastic. Can't believe it.
A few tears, I think, coming on that rostrum, Neely.
Almost, but I held them back.
What a day for you, eh?
I'll wake up soon.
So there we are then, Nigel has the gold medal. Let's just see it.
Yeah, there we go.
There it is, the beautiful gold medal, shooting shotgun skeet, and the best we can do so far is a can of Coke, but I've got a feeling it might be just a little stronger later.
Just maybe. We don't know yet. Sort something out.
Well, sort them out, Nigel Kelly certainly did. He shifted the very best in the Commonwealth and brought a gold medal home to the Isle of Man for the first time for 20 years. There was no other medals for the Manx team, but it wasn't for the want of trying. They all did magnificently, and now must look to New Zealand 1990.
Jeff Cannell with a review of Manx Radio's coverage of the 1986 Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh. It was first broadcast in December that year. And you can hear that programme and additional contents from the Manx Radio archives online at manxradio.com at the Manx Radio portal.